NFL free agency is here, and the Chiefs have been making some moves, and I want to get everyone caught up to where Kansas City is at right now in regards to their roster. This is a good refresher for you about where the Chiefs stand a couple days after free agency. So, I'm Gary McKenzie, your host here at RGR Football. Welcome, glad you're here. Starting out with free agency, the biggest moves the Chiefs have made so far is signing Jalen Moore, backup left tackle from the 49ers, signing Christian Fulton, cornerback from the LA Chargers, and signing Elijah Mitchell, running back also from the 49ers. How do I feel about these three moves? I like the Christian Fulton move the most. This is a quintessential Steve Spagnuolo defensive back. He will do well in Kansas City. Chiefs fans are really going to like him. And in addition to that, the Chiefs secondary got immediately better as soon as they brought Fulton on board. Now they have solid depth. Fulton is a decent number 2 cornerback. He's not going to get continuously picked on. He will be able to stand his own. I think this is a very good signing for the Chiefs, and Fulton will play his best football in Kansas City. I have very little doubt. I think this is going to be a great signing for Kansas City. The Elijah Mitchell move. 1 year, $3.5 million. Just on to kind of see what you can do. Typical running back contract. And I am mixed on this signing. Elijah Mitchell missed all of last season due to hamstring problems, and it seemed as though he was going to gear up and play that year, but he had a setback. He injured his hamstring early on in spring training. Then in another practice, he injured it worse, and they decided to shut him down for the year. Next thing you know, he doesn't play at all in 2024, and now he's a Chief in 2025. If the Chiefs can get anything close to his rookie year, where he was just explosive and had a lot of home run plays for the 49ers, then it's a good pickup. But in terms of the running back room, this is the room that I think offensively maybe needs the most help, because Isaiah Pacheco, we don't know what's going to go on with his leg after he hurt it last year. He didn't seem to have the same amount of pop as he did last year. And so the Chiefs are going to be looking for bodies at the running back position. And I think I'll cover that more next week. But in terms of players the Chiefs have lost for certain as of today, Joe Thuney gone via trade to the Chicago Bears. DeAndre Hopkins signed a 1-year, $6 million deal with Baltimore. Justin Reed is gone. He went to the New Orleans Saints. Samaje Perine is gone. He went back to Cincinnati. Tershawn Wharton got a bag. Good for him. He went to Carolina. Justin Watson, he's gone. He went to Houston. The Chiefs have been able to retain Hollywood Brown, Nick Bolton, James Winchester, Jack Cochran, Mike Caliendo, Nazeeh Johnson, Trey Smith, Matt Ariza, and Baylor Cupp. In terms of players who do not have a team yet, and of course it's a quickly moving environment, so this could change by the time you see this video, but Charles Omenihu has not been signed, DJ Humphries has not been signed, Joshua Uche has not been signed, Carson Wentz has not been signed, Derek Nottie, Mike Pennell, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kareem Hunt, Mecole Hardman, and a handful of other players have not been picked up yet. So, as of now, Spotrac and Over the Cap have the Chiefs at roughly $29 million in cap space. The reason they have this much cap space on both of those sites is, one, because Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes chose to restructure their contracts and save the Chiefs a boatload of space. So they were able to garner about $50 million in cap space with both of those moves, and that's why the Chiefs have been able to sign Jalen Moore, Elijah Mitchell, and Christian Fulton, as well as Hollywood Brown, and then also franchise tag Trey Smith. So they've been able to make a lot of moves to make the team better, thanks to Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes being unselfish players and putting the team first and being willing to restructure their contract. Now, they're big contracts, and they are designed in such a way where you can kick the can down the road. And so this is built into the contract and part of a way that the Chiefs have decided they want to try to be competitive every year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes' cap hit is $28 million. And if you tell me if you can get Patrick Mahomes' cap hit under $30 million, this team should be able to compete for a Super Bowl every single year. That's very affordable for what he brings to the table. So the Chiefs right now, Spot Track and Over the Cap, say they have about $29 million in cap space, but that's without the contracts for Nick Bolton, Elijah Mitchell, and Christian Fulton hitting the books. I would think after those three players have hit the books, they would have anywhere from $15 to $10 million in cap space. This is enough for the draft picks that the Chiefs will eventually need to sign, and also to have some wiggle room to take some action during the regular season, which Brett Veach likes to do. I don't think the Chiefs are done in free agency so far, but I do think they're done making the larger moves. So any players from here out, I think, will be on more team-friendly deals, less expensive. And I kind of have the Chiefs around $15 to $10 million in cap space at this point in time. So there's been a lot of talk, online with these players moving, going to different teams. Tershawn Wharton got paid a lot. Talk about the Chiefs getting compensatory draft picks for losing these players. And there's a lot of confusion around how the compensatory formula works. And so I wanted to take a moment to explain that. So for starters, the Chiefs were awarded 2 compensatory draft picks for the 2025 draft. They're both in the 7th round, number 251 overall, number 257 overall. The way the compensatory formula works is that it's based on a handful of things. One is the salary that was awarded to the player and the contract details with those salaries. The other is playing time, both for the previous season and the next season with their new team. Also included are the on-field performances of those players for their previous season and their next season with that team. So free agency happens, say, in 2024. That season passes. The compensatory picks are awarded in the 2025 draft. So it takes a year for this formula to complete, and then the picks are awarded. So the Chiefs will not get any compensatory picks for losing Justin Reed, for losing DeAndre Hopkins, for losing Tershawn Wharton. They're not going to get any picks this draft for them. They might next draft, depending on what happens. So here's who the Chiefs have lost. They lost Hopkins, Reed, and Tershawn Wharton. They gained Elijah Mitchell, Jalen Moore, and Christian Fulton. And Hopkins, Reed, and Wharton, their average contracts were worth more than the Chiefs have paid for the players they've brought in. In addition to that, it will also depend on how Hopkins plays, how Reed plays, and how Wharton play next year, compared to how Elijah Mitchell plays, Christian Fulton plays, and Jalen Moore plays. So if Jalen Moore starts every game for the Chiefs at left tackle, and Christian Fulton is the number 2 cornerback, and both those players get 90% of the offensive and defensive snaps respectively, and then Hopkins doesn't play very much, Reed doesn't play very much, Wharton doesn't play very much, the Chiefs are likely not going to get a compensatory pick for what happened in this offseason. However, if things pan out the way I think they will pan out, where Hopkins might get 25 to 30% of the snaps in Baltimore, Reed might get 90% of the snaps in New Orleans, Wharton will probably increase from his snap percentage in 2024, which was only 17% because the way they're paying him, it seems like they want him to play more. He might get around 40% of the snaps there in Carolina. Meanwhile, if Moore comes in and starts at left tackle for the Chiefs, then he'll get a lot of snaps. Mitchell might get a decent amount of snaps, and Fulton's probably going to get a lot. I see this as almost a wash. The Chiefs might get a 7th-round compensatory pick in the 2026 NFL draft for this free agency period, but I don't think it's going to be anything that, amounts to much. It's pretty much a wash at this point in time. Speaking of Jalen Moore, whenever I was mentioning that, maybe he's the starter at left tackle for the Chiefs, I told you how I felt about Christian Fulton. I told you how I felt about Elijah Moore. But Elijah Mitchell. I keep wanting to call him Elijah Moore. Elijah Mitchell. How I feel about Jalen Moore is a bit of a mixed bag. So this is a player that was backing up Trent Williams, perhaps one of the greatest left tackles to ever play. So it's understandable if you can't beat out Trent Williams. I think that's understandable. But he played 4 games. And that's last season. And the Chiefs want to bring him in to compete to be the left tackle starter. In my opinion, the Chiefs aren't much better off than they were last year. You still have an unknown quantity. Your left tackle position is not guaranteed. It's not a guaranteed. It's not a sure thing. The Chiefs don't know what a full season of Jalen Moore will look like. And so this is a risk, in my opinion. I wanted the Chiefs to go for the sure thing, or at least I felt was a sure thing, in Cam Robinson, who is going to give you average play, but at least you know he's a proven and known quantity. So the Chiefs are back in the same situation they were last year, where they're taking a bit of a risk at the left tackle position. And I don't want my insurance policy for Patrick Mahomes' blind side to be a risky policy. I want it to be there when I need it. I want it to be there when Mahomes needs it. So I am not going to, I'm not going to disagree with Veach's move, because obviously he knows much more than I do about this situation. But I am not gangbusters on the Jalen Moore pick. I am gangbusters on the Christian Fulton move, but we'll have to see how Jalen Moore pans out. Now, I hope he pans out well, but I am approaching with caution. So maybe the Chiefs' plan is to throw some bodies at the tackle position in the draft. They have 8 draft picks in 2025, and it's kind of a backloaded draft for the Chiefs. So they have a pick in the first round, 31st overall, a pick in the second round, 63rd overall, a pick in the third round, 66th overall from Tennessee, another pick in the third round, 95th overall, a pick in the fourth round, 133rd overall, and then they have 3 seventh round picks, 2 of them from the compensatory formula that we mentioned earlier, and then another one at position 226. So the Chiefs have 8 picks in total, and maybe they can throw some bodies at the left tackle position, try to get this figured out. But in my opinion, it's not. The Chiefs don't have a sure thing at left tackle still. They have another spot starter that hopefully will pan out for 2025, and this is going to continue to be a problem. And I think it's an understandable problem because the Chiefs pick late in the draft. They have to wait until a player comes available via free agency. They have to have the money. They tried to solve it by getting Trent Williams in Kansas City, but he chose to stay at San Francisco. And this is going to be a continued problem, I foresee, for next year too. But I hope I am wrong. I hope Jalen Moore comes in and plays well and solidifies the left tackle position for the Chiefs. But I'm not sold at this point in time. Now's your chance to tell me down in the comments, how do you feel about the Chiefs' free agencies so far? Are there any players that are still available that you want to bring to Kansas City? And let me know how you feel about Jalen Moore. Do you share the same sort of suspicion that I do, or hesitance that I do, in terms of this option panning out for the Chiefs? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, thank you for sticking through this video and being here with us and supporting RGR Football. We're almost to 31,000 subscribers. What an awesome journey it's been. If you want to join, make sure you subscribe. You'll get content like this regularly from us. And then hit that like button if you have not done so already. But this is Gary signing out. You all take care. Have a good rest of your week and have a good weekend. See you all later.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more. and subscribe to RGR Football.